helping you to find more of a solution-based approach to some of the conversations you might be having with your customers. Traditionally, in the past, we've had the luxury of being able to run this physically. So we've done this in our offices in Baker Street in London. We have a number of partners who have a room each, and then it's a little bit like a speed dating exercise where we ring the bell and resellers and distributors move from room to room to listen to what companies have got to say. So because of circumstances, as we all know, we've had to move to the format online, but it's great because it means that we've been able to extend our audience across EMEA. And I know that we've got a lot of partners from not just the UK and Ireland, but across Europe into Middle East and Africa. So thanks for joining us. I hope you're all keeping well. The agenda, as you see on screen, is as follows. So it's me to start with. I'm Andrew Cowling. I'm the Senior Channel Marketing Specialist at PFU EMEA Limited. We then move into 5 different sessions with partners of ours. We're going to start with process flows, followed by DocMe, Easy Software, ScanOptics, and FileStream. It's a very quick session with each. It's a good 20 minutes, but really we're going to be very succinct. We're going to be very much a quick overview of who the partner is, perhaps what their specialities are, their solutions, their offerings, some of the target markets, what are some of those opportunities that they see coming up over the coming months, particularly as offices start to return to normal, or as normal as can be. So what are the opportunities to help them on their digital transformation journey? We're also going to talk about the integrations that they have with our products. And why this will be good is because that should hopefully initiate some conversations and opportunities, not just with your existing customer base who might have FI scanners of ours already and might be interested in perhaps looking at that solution to address certain needs, but also perhaps we can work with you to take that message to new data sets and new customers who will be keen to, as I say, embrace all things digital. If you have questions, then due to the fact that we've got quite a few people on the call, we're not going to make this an interactive process. If you have questions, please ask them. You'll see a little drop down on the right hand side. We'll endeavour to answer those if we can, but as you can imagine, 20 minutes is quite a short session. So the aim will be is afterwards to introduce you to the partners on this webinar, and you can then have an interaction and conversation in your own time. I guess final things from me to say is that we are recording what we have here, so this will be made available afterwards. There'll be an automated email probably within tomorrow, but we're also going to host this on our imaging channel program. So if you're not already a member, then please sign up. I'll include the link to our imaging channel program in the automated email. Please sign up. You can then review the video, you can share with colleagues, and also within this platform there's a host of other material to help you, to sort of help enable you along that sales journey to really understand what the opportunity is around scan and how can we help you push that message to your customers. So that's probably it from me. I'll keep the introduction shorter than 15 minutes to enable our partners to have a little bit more time each. But we're going to start with process flows. So process flows, without stepping on their toes too much, are a leading provider of solutions and services that are really designed to help improve business processes and communications. Essentially, what they're aiming to do is provide flexible applications and solutions that really augment existing systems, and that allows for fast deployment and a speedy return on investment. So I'm going to hand over to Paul Bamberger. He's the technical account manager at Process Flows, and you might just have to bear with me whilst I find him in the attendees over the reins. So where are you, Paul? There you are. So let's make you presenter. So hopefully, Paul, you can hear me and you can see. Perfect. I can see your screen.
Good morning. Morning to you.
I can hear you. Great.
we'll get going. Thank you very much. Thank you for your welcome. And my name is Paul Bamberg. I'm technical lead for process flows. As you've been told, we are a company that looks at how we can help companies improve how data flows within them. And a lot of that comes from specialist areas, whether that be document management or unified communications, and the thing we're going to talk about a bit today, which is fax-related technology. So I'm kind of representing or talking about today 4 core companies or ideas. Of course, Fujitsu require no description here, but we are partnering with them because OpenText have actually done an integration for their WriteFax product. Now, WriteFax is a fax server solution, globally recognized. It's very mature. Process Flows started distributing it in 1992, and OpenText are the developers of that product. Now, OpenText have worked with Fujitsu to do a custom integration for Fujitsu scanners, and Process Flows is the EMEA distributor. Will be working with partners and resellers to deliver that solution. But I can hear you sat there thinking, he's just talked about fax. So what we know is that for technologists, and that's pretty much, I would say, everybody on this call, we're perhaps amused when our customers say, we use fax, we need to do this with fax, because probably most of us have not sent a fax in the last decade, maybe the last 2. So why do companies still talk about fax? In fact, you will even find that you'll talk to the technologists or the IT departments within companies and they'll say, oh, we don't do any fax. But when you go looking, what you start finding is maybe not the amount of fax there was 20 or 30 years ago, but still these little niches of areas or critical niches, or even high volume faxing going on behind the scenes within most large corporates and medium-sized companies globally. That it's still a very widely used form of technology. And we need to provide ways of making it convenient, because the old way of doing that with a fax machine is clearly it's been exposed, particularly now, as an issue in that you can't go to a fax machine if it's sat in the office right now and you're having to work from home. So why do companies do fax? What's the reason? Well, the first of which is it is secure technology. It's point to point. It's not like an email where the packets break up into pieces and can take different routes between the sender and the recipient. It is point to point. It's an audio protocol, and it is a standard accepted industry standard way of communicating. And that includes all the negotiation and stuff that goes on and those noises you've heard if you phoned a fax line by mistake. And the key thing there is at the end of the transaction, there is an agreement between the devices that the transaction took place and there's a receipt. And the classic thing is, of course, on a fax machine, it prints out a receipt, confirmation of delivery, and both sender and receiver get those. And that is why it has been a legally binding document for so long, because you can pick that piece of paper up with the document and show it to a judge and say, actually, we really did send this document at this time to them. They really did receive it. And though increasingly other technologies are becoming acceptable legally, there are still many jurisdictions worldwide that say you have to you have to reinforce this with a fax. It's a fax is our standard way of doing it, because we know that technology. It's acceptable. It's accepted. It's been pushed through our courts already. There are other reasons. One of the common ones is it's part of a process. Now that might be that the whole life cycle of a business process is passing between multiple sites or multiple organizations or multiple companies. And the agreement at some point was this step between company A and company B is a fax. Now, it goes back to that thing we were just talking about. You've got confirmation it was sent and confirmation it was received. So there is that record, that agreement between the organizations that the document has been passed. So again, that has often been built into workflows because it's quite universal technology as well. It's easy to use. It's just a phone number to send the document. And it also allows for an element in the process to become a paper document at the end of transmission, whereas almost every other format, you can't decide it is a paper document. So what about other uses? Well, the other thing you'll often find is you'll talk to a company and say, well, we still need fax, but it's not because we need it, it's because our customer insists on it, or our supplier insists on it, or this is quite common, the bank insists on sending a fax. So I have been to multiple companies where they work with each other and they have all insisted that the others insist on using fax. It's just one of those the ways that it works. The final thing that I'm going to talk about today as a reason why companies are using fax is because the alternatives haven't actually been very good. Now, there's no doubt that the bulk of global faxing has been replaced by email, because actually there wasn't any reason for it to be a fax other than it was just a way of sending a document or a message. So to and fro messages that don't include personal information or bank account details or patient records for the health sector, those can all go by email quite happily, especially if you don't need confirmation of delivery, because email doesn't necessarily do that very well. So all that type of traffic has come off fax and gone into email, and that's fine. But as soon as the document needs to be secure or guaranteed delivery or record of delivery, email becomes a problem because it doesn't necessarily, as default, have that functionality. And though you can say, well, actually, company A and company B will set up certificates between their organizations to make sure it's secure, the reality is that most emailing is not happening that way. And the obvious alternative has been secure mail. Now, the problem with secure mail is it works for me if I'm sending it to you, but you receive an email with a link. You click the link, you get an email, you get a website where you need to log in and authenticate and set up a password. And every time I send you a message, you've got to go back to that portal. Now, there's nothing wrong with that technology in itself. There are some very, very good products doing that. But the user acceptance and user adoption has been very, very poor, and many users just don't like it. So they go back to what they know, which is fax. So there is still a strong driving force behind fax, and let's look at a couple of areas where it's being used. So typically would be parts of accounts processes, whether it's ordering items or managing the additional paperwork communicated between the suppliers and customers. There's stuff to do with sending documents or data or equipment or packages around the world. That's often faxed because, again, that has an ease of delivery. You can fax a fax machine somewhere else in the world with very little data. You only need the fax number. Trade orders is an interesting one. If your customers are in the financial sector, you may well find that one of their requirements is to send paper confirmation of electronic transmissions. So that's where, let's say it's a trade where people are buying currency. They'll often have to confirm that transaction by paper. And the way it's done is by fax. So the reality is there's probably a fax server on either end. A fax server to send the paper document by fax and a fax server to receive it. So it probably was never paper in reality, but that is a very common area. HR records are an interesting one as well, particularly where organizations use agencies. So an agency wants to get their candidate details across to the potential company that they want to place them in, and they want as few limits as possible, technological limits, between getting that, what is very private data for the candidate, across to the company. And fax is actually quite good for that because it's secure delivery. And this one is probably still the biggest requirement in the world, which is medical records. This is driven especially by an insurance-led industry, where the records are going to third parties, are going to commercial organizations, and there aren't necessarily the easy links between medical practitioners and an organization assessing for risk or assessing for maybe the cost of a elective treatment or something of that sort. So because of that, we see a very, very high volume of medical faxes. Now, there are alternative technologies. Again, there's plenty of those out there, and there are universal standards globally accepted for communicating patient records. But between commercial and private, or commercial and charity, that hasn't necessarily functioned. So fax is still very strong. So look particularly at medical records, but also if you deal with the pharmacy industry, you'll find that pharmacies and chemists and the pharma world, again, are very, very driven by fax technology. So let's look at some technology. So having talked a lot about fax, and I apologize for giving you such a ramble on that, but it's important to understand why business do it. This is perhaps, as a Fujitsu supplier yourself, this is perhaps what you're more familiar with. And this is the product that OpenText and Fujitsu have worked together to produce the first integration between the products. This allows these devices to be used as scanners. So the 7300 NX can be placed on a desk and can be easily used to send documents. Now, it's a network scanner, and it has the advantage, in my opinion, of not having a printer on it. So a lot of scan to fax functionality we see is driven from multifunction printers. But of course, the drive in the printing industry is to reduce the cost for printing. That means higher speed, higher density devices, but less of them. Central locations, often print management software off the back of it. But it means the device does everything. And though when we're talking about scanning, we're talking about creating an electronic document, and when we're sending a fax, of course, the document is scanned and turned into a fax and delivered electronically because it's an electronic communication. But if it's got a printer on, there's still this paper end of it. And of course, one of the aims is to say, well, actually, we need everything electronic. Documents should be managed electronically, and this device is focused on just doing that. It doesn't encourage printing of a document. Also, it doesn't have to be where the designated locations are for the multifunction printers. This is small enough to go in the place where a fax machine might have been sat on somebody's desk or in a shared space. They are a relatively modest size unit, and again, brings a whole load of benefits from that point of view. So here's the experience. The user authenticates using a card reader or an NFC device of some sort to authenticate on the device. And in this example, we're using a shortcode, so they can literally select a pre-programmed destination number, click that number, and at that point, the document is scanned through the device, and NX Manager is then going to pass the job across to the fax server. In this case, this solution has been built around the OpenText WriteFax server product. Now, authentication is passed across. So the user logged in effectively. They used their scanning card or whatever it was to say, this is me. And because of that, WriteFax knows who the user is. They can log the fax against that user. The user can then look at the fax if they have access to the desktop or web client. Those clients are available within the product as part of the license. And they'll also get an electronic confirmation of delivery. So they'll get an email. And because we know who the user is, WriteFax has identified the user, it goes back to the right person. And there was an option to actually have a copy of that document. So the user could actually see a copy of maybe just the cover sheet or the first page or the whole document when they receive confirmation of delivery. For the external recipient, they don't know what the technology was. They don't know that it was a Fujitsu scanner or a WriteFax server, because there is that universality of the fax communication. It was a fax device that sent it. It was a fax device that received it. So WriteFax delivers a whole range of fax functionality. Fax enables applications, devices, systems, and any way that a user would generate a document is generally a way that a fax can be sent. It will do the standard things. So for example, it can be deployed to allow users to send and receive faxes via email or desktop applications, or as we're talking about today, scanning, and also mobile and web functions, and also integration into back-end systems. So if your customers are looking at not only replacing the physical fax machines, but they're also aiming to replace their other ways of doing fax, and they're wanting to actually send documents by fax from their back-end systems, not print a document off a mainframe and then walk to a fax machine to send it. All those things can be done, whether it's SAP, whether it's a 40-year-old IBM system, whether it's a modern web-based application which they're using for CRM or for their case management. All of those things can be integrated into WriteFax. So the scanners are, to an extent, a way that you can deliver not just the scanning to fax capability, but once you've then got a foothold there, because that fax server can actually be linked to lots of things, and they can just add modules to add functionality as they require. And just to talk over this diagram a bit more, as you can see on the left-hand side, we've got the internal functionality and capabilities and a fax server, and then it connects to the outside world. With a traditional fax machine, it's an analog line. That's an old, like an old local telephone type connection. Companies have moved to IP telephony, voice over IP, and similar things, and those fax machines don't work well. And actually, multifunction devices that have a fax board, again, are working with analog technology. They're a problem for IP systems. And also they're generally, if it's not done through an IP system, it's done through a local line connected to a pole in the street. Well, the problem with that is it's geographic. It means you can't relocate it. You may not easily better redirect the numbers and that type of thing. So actually, by providing a server, this server integrates either to the corporate telephone network, however that's integrated, or if a company's gone fully IP, it can connect to a session border controller and IP trunks. So all that modern technology that which we associate with business transformation now, especially aiming now at mobility and the ability of users to use their telephones at home or on the move, because it's not reliant on a physical handset on the desk. A modern WiFi server will integrate with those different technologies. And if they got rid of that technology completely, we can still do it. So some companies will have shifted to some of the, for example, the Microsoft or other cloud-based telephone platforms. And if that is the case, we can still fax and telephone enable WriteFax by using WriteFax Connect, which is effectively our own cloud telephony platform for WriteFax. So the technology is there, all the pieces tied together, the scanner, the fax server, the integration to the outside world, and the delivery without really any knowledge of what that technology to the recipient who's going to receive the fax. It's worth talking a bit more about WriteFax. It is a proper enterprise grade application, can be deployed into data centers in normal ways. It supports virtualization. It's Windows Server based. We run all the latest versions of operating systems and integrate with the latest version of Exchange and Office Online, SQL, all those techie questions that you get. The answer is pretty much yes with all of those, because it's been built on a Microsoft foundation and it will integrate with enterprise grade systems. It is scalable. We can put multiple servers for resilience, or we can use resilience technology that a customer has. And it can be deployed in a huge variety of methods, especially if you've got a customer where they're looking at deploying globally, maybe on 3 or 4 continents. They want to deploy this solution, so they're going to put the scanners to replace all their scanning and fax devices globally. Well, WriteFax can actually be built and scaled that way. And depending on what the other technology footprint looks like, we can come up with a WriteFax solution that will do that. It's also very reliable. WriteFax, it's so reliable, often people don't know that they've got it. It just keeps working. And IT departments tend to come back and say, well, the problem we have with it is we don't really know about it because it's gone in and we haven't had to do anything with it because it is so reliable. And from a partner point of view, you actually don't want a high number of tickets and a high number of support incidents on the technology you deploy. You perhaps want enough that they remember your support is really good. But in principle, what we want is something that's reliable and goes into a customer effectively. So let's just run a few high-level benefits. You can make faxing simple. No fax machines, no traditional technology, and a simple case of walking up the device, 2 or 3 buttons, and away you go to fax. It removes that analog technology. If you're talking to a customer where they are talking about simplifying their infrastructure, changing their telephone system, changing to Skype or Teams for their telephony, this is the time to talk about this, because actually they perhaps haven't planned how they're going to deal with fax technology in that. Of course, then we've removed a whole stack of legacy technology. So from an IT point of view, it's simpler, and there's no maintenance of old traditional fax machines, or even the fax functionality that's embedded in multifunction devices. They're not always very well managed by, say, the print management tools that are applied to those, because they're kind of seen as an extra plugin that's not related to it. So this type of solution makes it simpler for IT departments. it's a centralized point. If you're talking about audit trails, governance, so whether that's data protection legislation, GDPR, PCI, DSS, MiFID II, whatever the rules are that apply in your region to do with data protection, whether it be documents must be logged, recorded, archived, encrypted, whatever it is, we can deploy those with RightFacts. RightFacts has ways of doing them. And here's one of the other interesting things, that 7300 is also Wi-Fi capable. So again, if you've got that scenario where the fax machine was an open space just next to a telephone point, there was no network, well, actually that's not now an issue. It could be replaced by the scanner because it's Wi-Fi connected. That probably opens up lots of opportunities because especially as, again, new workspaces and new work layouts are designed, the assumption is that users use laptops in many, many settings. So there isn't that level of cabling still available for wired network connections, especially with businesses driving more towards breakout rooms and more like offices tend to look like coffee shops these days rather than be straight lines or cubicles. This device sits very well in that platform and that type of environment. And of course, these devices are focused on making documents electronic. We've only really talked about the functionality of turning documents into faxes. But of course, there's a whole range of other features, whether it be document storage, archiving, workflow, document recognition, or just making documents electronic and accessible via simple standard network tools. The scanners offer that capability. And as excited as I am about the fax capability, I suspect that your other partners that look at other types of digital transformation of paper documents equally are excited by this type of technology. So how to take a step further? Please talk to us. So we are used to dealing with resellers. That's how we function. We are scaled to do that. However, we can deliver a wraparound service. So if you've got a partner or customer that says we want to do this particular solution, but you don't have the resources to do it, now we can train your people to do it, but equally we can provide deployment, installation services, support, so we can wrap our support services behind or in front of your support organization. So if you want to triage the calls and pass them to us, we can do that, or we can do a deeper service. So we have a whole range of ways of doing that. Talk to Miles Powley. He is one of my colleagues. He works with our partners, again, across the EMEA, and he will work with you to work out what you need. We'll put together costs and quotes, and we're quite happy to attend a call, a conference call, or meetings, and work with you to bring those deals in. So keep asking the question, are you sure you're not doing fax? So thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Really good presentation. I think you answered the question by the fact that Miles's role is EMEA. We had someone ask whether this is available in OpenText Middle East, or is it just a European thing? So yeah, that was a question we had about the reach across them. Yeah.
Even regions, so generally we are EMEA, but even regions where we don't cover, we can work with you and find a way of providing you a service in that region.
Super, thank you.
And we don't forget, we work very closely as well with OpenText. We're the EMEA distributor, so we want to make sure there's a way of deploying these solutions anywhere in the world.
Indeed, it's incredible, really, how the fax machine is such an integral part of businesses, processes, and everyday operations. I suspect there's probably a lot of our resellers that are thinking now, I'm going to ask my customers whether they still have fax machines, and perhaps try and uncover some new opportunities about replacing those. We've been working up a lot of content in the UK around Axe the Fax. That's very much an initiative within healthcare. So if there is any resellers that would like to start looking at the opportunity that Process Flows have just talked about today, then we're happy to try and work with you on some joint messaging to take to your customer base.
And it's worth saying, Steve, that Axe the Fax is interesting because they've wanted to Axe fax machines, because actually, as I've just talked about, they've said that actually fax machines are the problem. NHS surely is a really interesting target for those devices as well, because again, they are on that digital transformation journey, not just for facts, but for a whole variety of things.
Indeed, and then as with most industries, everyone's realised the need to accelerate that now. So super, thank you, Paul. So I'm going to tee up Sebastian. And Sebastian works for DocMe. He is the account manager there, and DocMe basically have an array of software solutions that are really aimed at the enterprise content management and the scanning industry. And it's all about helping organizations to streamline and optimize their file sharing and improve their imaging processes. And really, again, it's helping companies become digital. So that's strive towards digital. So hopefully I can certainly see Sebastian's screen. Are you there, Sebastian?
Hi, can you hear me?
Super. Yes, I can indeed. So over to you.
Perfect.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot for the introduction. Thanks to everyone, to all the attendees for this short presentation of what DocMe is able to do. Sorry, and we'll be able to talk a little bit more about first who we are, what we do, and how our solution can be fully integrated with Fujitsu devices to help your clients or your company in the digital transformation. First of all, I am myself based in Paris, our European headquarters for the EMEA operations. I work very closely with our Middle East office in Bahrain, and we are part of a network of 7 offices so far, if I remember correctly, all around the world, where we actually work with our local partners and distributors in more than 80 countries. We are a software manufacturer, so basically we are maintaining and developing our own software, and we use distribution channel to distribute, to sell our solutions. I am myself in charge of more specifically the European countries and African distribution channels. We work with a large number of distributors and resellers you probably already know and work with. And we are very happy today to be here in front of you to tell you a little bit more about DocMe. First of all, I will go a little bit quick on the DocMe presentation, the company presentation, because it's not what the purpose of this talk today, and to go more into the solution. So we work with a lot of different manufacturers in different parts of the world. For the EMEA side, we work very closely with Fujitsu, especially in the UK and France. We also have some common project in different countries of Africa, and we are able to reach any kind of size of company, from the SMBs to the larger companies in any kind of vertical market, from the public and private sector, thanks to our distribution channels. Our solution basically will go just after the scanning device Fujitsu can provide our client with, and we will have a first step of document capture, where the software technology will allow us to extract information from the scanned document, index them, go through OCR engine, and then automatically recognize, sort, classify, and name the document. The whole idea behind those processes will be for the user of the system to really have a one-button process. We will be able to integrate the touch screen, for example, of the scanners, to create a whole automated process to allow the user to scan, name, sort, extract information, and send the documents into the right workflow for processing. So DocMe solution will allow user to handle this whole process. We'll use different part of the software, obviously, to do that. For the scanning, the indexing part will use the capture part. Of course, this solution can handle multiple type of inputs. I've been talking about the scanning of paper documents. We, of course, can be integrated with emails, attachment, ERP, CRM, business application. There's a whole range of inputs possible here for our solution. Um, as I told you, we can use any kind of device from the Fujitsu range of device, from the small mobile scanners to the desktop scanners, the network ones, or even the production line will be fully compatible and integrated with our system. This part is using different OCR technologies, using different synchronization with different database to be able, and even scripting, even kind of artificial intelligence, to be able to recognize a document and automatically extract the values that are relevant for us. We'll be able to use that either on premises or in the cloud. One of the very interesting points in the DocMe document solution is that they are actually totally agnostic. I mean, on the way to host the solution, we can do that on premises, on a local server, in a data center, sorry, or with a cloud hosted solution. Everything is possible from that point of view. Once the document, the paper document or the electronic document is been processed, after that, first data extraction, we'll be able to send it into our archiving system for, of course, a safe, secure, controlled archiving. We will use, once again, we are very flexible here because we can use either any kind of web browser or any smartphone, tablets, to get access to those documents for the retrieval, for the search engine, and all the kind of tools that the ECM or digital archiving can help us with. We're able to do that on any type of device, either on the field or in the office. Here, the system is designed to be as flexible and easy to use as possible. Once again, as Paul mentioned, we know that one of the key aspects of those critical systems is to help our users to go through those new tools that they may not be used to have in their company. That's why we try to make it as easy to use, as automated as possible, with the less disruption possible in the ways they will work on a daily basis. For here, for the basic, let's say, from a very high level, you can see some of the key feature of any professional enterprise content management system. So of course, everything related to the file sharing collaboration is properly handled. The OCR, of course, is an essential tool to be able to retrieve easily documents, to extract information. Everything related to security is of course handled. I'm thinking here about all the encryption, you know, the GDPR compliancy problematics we might have, the ISO compliance, all these kind of regulatory frames are of course handled and by design embedded within our software. Now, on the more processing side, I mean, it's not because the documents are safely archived in a document management system that they will be fixed and stuck as, you know, here for simple archiving. They will need to have a life on their own to be processed. And this is where the second part of the system will kick in with the workflow tools with the electronic signature, all the annotation, collaboration, to be able to modify and to duplicate any kind of document process for our users. We can, of course, we can handle any kind of format of document in our systems. We do have a native viewer that allows us to see and to modify eventually documents. There's really a lot of documents, of type of document that can be handled. Of course, the Microsoft Office documents, all kind of PDFs, TIFFs, images, audio, video documents can be handled. Even the blueprints, the AutoCAD, the DWG files can be handled and viewed directly on the system. I mean, there's a whole range of documents we can actually archive and process and view within the system. I will now show you a couple of not screenshot, but I want for you to see what the interface looks like, and a couple of features that I would like to show you. So first of all, what you see on your screen here is the dashboard of the system. So I'm using, as I told you, a web browser, my default web browser, to have access to the system. Once I'm logged in, I'm using here a single sign-on system. So basically, as soon as I'm logged to my Windows session, I will also be automatically logged in my document management system. And of course, the access right will be synchronized, and I will only have access to one part of the system. Basically, what you see here is a homepage with different widgets that are available that you can customize. I mean, I did it this way, but I can will remove them, change the location, log them. I mean, everything is possible here. What you can see here is, first of all, a couple of widgets. My favorites document, the recent file have been opened, the notification on the documents that I'm subscribed to. I have access, of course, to all the documents, the file cabinet, the digital file cabinet that I have access to with a dynamic type of ordering system. This is a very interesting point. What I mean by dynamic is that I actually, as a user, can select the way the documents are displayed. So if, for me, for instance, what makes sense is to have the document by type of document, then by supplier, well, I can display the document that way. If I want another type of ordering system, I can totally do that with a custom based system based, I don't know, on the status, for instance. And each user will be able to modify the way the documents are displayed based on their specific needs. So this is something very interesting. So here I have it based on the status. And also very interesting points. I will show you how the documents are displayed. I all the features related, to GDPR, ISO compliancy, and all this kind of regulatory frame are also handled, as I mentioned earlier. We will have a version control tool, we'll have retention-based system, we'll have any kind of audit log based on every action on the system. So I can have any kind of action, any kind of action will be recorded in the system. This will help, the DPOs or the process manager to actually document and to track what happens to the documents. I need to move this. Okay, I need to close that now. Another interesting point that is also very welcome for our user is the ability to create custom workflows for the user to actually match the different validation processes, either in accounting or in HR, or even for the medical industry for the patient files, or the student files. Medical industry patient files, and education with the student files, or the processing of the exams. We can actually design our own workflow based on the process we want to duplicate here. We have a visual workflow builder that you can see here on your screen, where I can basically create any kind of task, apply different rules, different conditions. Here I'm just applying a stamp, I'm defining the rules, I will be able to define the routing of the documents. Basically, this tool is already available, and user, administrator, or even you as a reseller can actually help design or modify source workflow for the end users. The idea is to give here a full control on the system to the organization who's using the system. Of course, they can rely on our distribution channels help to have that updated on a regular basis, to have that modified eventually. They can rely on us if they have to change something and they don't really want to put their hand in the settings. We can help them for that too. But the whole idea is to give them freedom to modify, to adapt any part of the software to their specific needs. Okay, so we are able here to accompany our reseller, distributors, and end users all along the process of digitalization of their documents, of their workflow, to help them getting more reliability, efficiency, and all this kind of modern problematics that we might have. To give you an example of what we've been working on recently, I can mention two different kind of vertical market where we've been quite strong recently. I'm thinking here about education and about healthcare. So we've been handling very interesting projects in the healthcare industry in one of the major hospital centers in Paris to work with their compliancy with ISO and GDPR. So this is a very challenging vertical market. There's a lot of regulations to follow, a lot of different things, especially about security. And we've been developing a whole environment for them to accompany their different labs to be able to go through different medical, certifications, to be able to go much faster in their validation processes. So this is one very interesting case study here that I would be happy to share more detail about if you're interested, of course. And the other one is about education in the UK. We've been working with a very huge examination centers, not only in the UK, but they also have other centers in different countries. And we've been helping them to actually design and process the examination papers from their students, no matter where the examination center is located, no matter where the marker is located. So we've been helping them to streamline this process, and they've been so far very happy about the gain of productivity and the way we've been able to speed up this whole process. Okay. So of course you can contact me directly. You will have on your screen, you have on your screen here my contact information. Oh, I need to go. Okay, I did a mistake, sorry. You can contact me anytime. I will be more than happy if you are based in another country to put you in direct contact with our local account manager or our local distributor. Please feel free to contact us. We will always be very happy to help you with your project, with your client project. And once again, the idea is to be able to accompany you with our sales team, technical team, consultant team to go further with your project.
Très bien. Thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. I hope everyone can see the impressive, intuitive range of solutions that that DocMe can offer. Really is a lot of conversations and opportunities to take to customers that want to better manage all their enterprise content needs. We just had one question that came through, Sebastian, and that was around OCR support for Arabic.
So
yeah.
we do support Arabic languages for OCR. This is one of the main advantages. I believe we support something like 192 languages, something like that, and Arabic is definitely one of them. Okay, we are able to OCR Arabic documents. Okay,
thank you. Well, as I say, after the workshop today, I'll be just introducing people to each other, so there'll be, and I'll highlight who's asked questions so that they can be followed up directly as well. But thank you ever so much for your overview, Sebastian. Perfect timing. We're moving on to the next person at 10:55. So here we are. I'm going to switch yourself off and let's try and find Howard. So Howard is from Easy Software. I'm sure he doesn't need any introduction for the UK channel on the call. But basically, it's always a pleasure to have Easy Software involved in activity that we do. And they really provide an array of solutions that address the end-to-end digitalization of business processes. Everything they do integrates seamlessly into existing workflows, and Easy are all about how can we help optimize those workflows through automation. So we can see your screen, Howard. This is Howard Freer, he's the head of sales, and I can hear you as well. So over to you, Howard.
Andrew, thank you very much indeed for that introduction this morning, and I've been very pleased to participate in this session. So thank you for Andrew and PFU for allowing us to present to all the audience here, and thank you for joining everybody. So good morning to you all. So what I'm going to show you, as has been indicated by Andrew, that there's an opportunity certainly with Easy at the moment, and has been for some while. And let me just introduce myself very briefly. As I say, I've been head of sales for Easy for a long time. I've worked for Easy for 19 years now, and we've been in ever since they came into the UK. And I'm going to be working today with Sean McLaughlin, one of my colleagues. He did a recent webinar, so I'm going to show you that recent webinar to talk about one of the solutions that we have in the product suite that we have across the portfolio of Easy Software, which I'll get into in a minute. But I think one of the things that the COVID situation has taught us all, that we need to be better using technology to move businesses and organizations forward. So I think there is a very significant opportunity as we come out of this very difficult situation that we are all in globally, to use these kinds of technologies with your customers and your opportunities to move them forward into the digital transformation space. So just to take a perspective as to what the portfolio that Easy has, and it's rapidly expanding just recently from archiving, content management and workflow, which you see at the bottom of this slide, which is a little busy, I appreciate. So some of the content management and content services type solutions that we've been providing to customers, and this is our 30th year in doing that. So as I say, we've been successful, particularly in the European space, but I'll show you we're expanding globally as well, quite successfully. But we've recently introduced customer experience and user experience into the portfolio, acquiring an organization called Appiomat. And the key thing there is the API, application programming interface opportunities that enhances. I mean, we already had 100 integrations published alongside our partners. We have more than 100 partners globally, but that's not many in terms of just trying to expand the technology for digitalization across the globe. So this is very much a good opportunity for yourselves to get involved with this. And really what it's all about is making sure that not only we have along the top here solution sets for various horizontal functions, be that human resources, finance. I'm going to show you finance today, or rather my colleague Sean is going to talk you through the finance opportunity, which is the basis of a lot of our customers, but also into other things like field services, even things like Internet of Things, working with manufacturing. As you can see here, there are some funky solutions around virtual reality there, and using all the mobile devices and mobile technologies that are available to people now to make it much easier to collaborate and share the content there. The beauty, of course, of our connections with Fujitsu that go back many, many years is the fact that they are the market leader, as you know, for certainly digitization, and that is the start point for many business processes here. So what I'm going to do next is show you what Sean has provided by way of an invoice management solution, and very much from a customer's perspective. So this is where we would help you to look at the customer experience in finance. But as I say, it's really by way of an example. It'll show you the interfaces that we're using at the end and give you a flavor of the software as well. So I'm going to move on to that now swiftly.
Welcome to Easy Software, digital but easy. My name is Sean McLaughlin and I am a software consultant here at Easy Software in the UK. Today's webinar will be showing you through our product Easy Invoice, more efficiency and transparency in invoice processing. When working with invoices, the majority of accounts payable teams will have very similar challenges with invoices. They can include high volumes of invoices from lots of different sources. Those invoices won't have any standardization, and that means that they'll be in many different formats. There's lots of information on the pages to take out, and that means you'll have sometimes incorrect information. They'll be terribly time consuming to deal with, and legally they all need to be retained for a certain period. This in turn leads to process inefficiencies. Our colleagues over at Accounts Payable Association have identified a few of those inefficiencies they experienced. When speaking with their members, up to 90% identified that they were spending their time on regular supplier phone calls, chasing payments. 78% said that they are dealing with late paying supplier invoices. 63% admitted to receiving duplicate invoices, and 33% of those were paid. 58% experienced pay late payment charges from their suppliers, and 57% invoices were received on paper. 56% experienced cash flow issues due to AP issues and the processes in place. 54% of invoices were sent to the wrong location, and many more. The Accounts Payable Association then asked AP professionals to rank their largest challenges in the department. I'm sure there are a few people watching this webinar that can relate. 14% said lost or missing invoices was considered to be a larger problem. 16% said it was a decentralized invoice receipt. 19% said that they were missing payment discount deadlines. And 21% said there was no outstanding liabilities transparency. 23% said there was a high number of discrepancies that caused the largest problems in the accounts payable department. However, the top three largest AP challenges were manual routing of invoices for approval at 34%, manual data entry at 47%, and paper format invoices at a staggering 52%. As I'm sure some of you are aware, there is mandatory invoice information that needs to be provided according to our friends over at HMRC. The word invoice must be displayed, and the date of the invoice must be there as well. A unique identification number, such as an invoice number, the sender's company name, address, and contact information, the receiver's company name, address, and contact information, a clear description of the items charged, goods or services supply dates, amounts being charged, and whether VAT amount is applicable, and finally, the total amount owed. The good news is we can use this information to identify invoices within Easy Invoice. We'll come to that a little bit later. So let's look at the manual process versus automation and the costs. The typical cost of manually processing just one invoice was estimated to be between £4 and £25. So if we take the bottom end of that number, the typical cost of manually processing, for example, 20,000 invoices at £4, cost £80,000 across the year. If we take the other end, the higher end of that, the typical cost of manually processing 20,000 invoices at £25 would cost a staggering £500,000. And the typical cost of manually processing and not automating at all could be up to 20 times more than those amounts specified by Gartner. So, what happens during the process? You may be surprised to learn that 75% of that time is simply idle time. 20% of that time will be down to invoice transport processing time, essentially sending the invoice backwards and forwards to the people who need to actually work on the invoice. And just 5% of the time will be spent simply processing that invoice for payment. Alternatively, let's look at automating it. The typical cost of an automated processing of 20,000 invoices will be simply 20 pence per invoice, meaning only a £4,000 cost over the course of the year. So what does this mean for you? Using products like Easy Invoice, they'll give you complete transparency in your accounts payable processes. It gives you flexible, secure access to verification and approval processes, as well as compliance with legal legislation. It helps you and your team to reduce input errors and to reduce procurement and personnel costs. Improve your cash flow. Early payment discounts can easily be achieved. Optimize your account payable processes and resources. Reduce your office space and energy consumption, and eliminate duplicates, multiple copies, and endless paper documents. So within Easy Invoice, let's give you an overview of how it works. Imagine this is your Easy Documents workflow, the point where you're actually monitoring the document as it goes through its life cycle. Easy offers a capture program called Easy Capture Plus. It allows your invoices to be pulled into the product either through scan stations or other digital means such as email or from a watch folder. From those invoices that are pulled into Easy Capture Plus, information can be extracted and even verified by your team. If you use an ERP system, for example a finance package, this remains your master data throughout the process. Easy Invoice can pull information from the ERP system and match it to what is extracted and verified in the system. The master data will also contain purchase order details, meaning that your invoice and the purchase order can be married together. Once this is done, it then passes through to Easy Documents. Easy Documents allows you to set approval processes in place, and those can be simple to incredibly complex, and allows you to send data when it's been approved for posting to your finance or ERP system. Once it's completed, it will confirm that posting and it will send that information back to Easy Documents if you so choose. And then finally, once it's completed, it will go off to a store or what we call an archive. And you can add retention policies to those documents to be recalled over a certain period of time and also automatically deleted. So how does Easy Invoice work? As we said, it brings paper invoices in, electronic invoices extracted from the email. The OCR engine of Easy Capture Plus reads the entire page and every digital character on that page is extracted. It then uses business logic to translate the data and it cross-references with your master data. The fields of information are then assigned a confidence level, which is in a very simple traffic light system of red, amber, green. Documents without any issues are processed automatically. Documents with issues are then sent for manual verification. Automated email notifications for approval processing are then sent, and then when they're approved, the invoice is sent for payment processing, and then the document is fully indexed and securely archived. So what scanning options does Easy Invoice provide? There are three. One which we call late scanning, so you can scan after the invoice has been processed by your team and to your finance or ERP system. It's manual data entry, very rapidly implemented, and has the least investment of time and money for your company. The next one up is early scanning. It allows you to scan the invoice before the invoice has been processed. It allows you, again, to input the data manually and can be implemented fast and is a good solid investment. Early scanning with OCR provides the largest investment but also the most comprehensive. Scan before invoice processing reduces that manual data entry, has a longer implementation time, but ultimately is the best investment. But before you get too excited, there are some things we need to tell you, and these things are the same for any other product that you look at in the marketplace. Easy Invoice is not a supplier invoice template replacement tool. It's not for everyone either. Volume dictates the justification for investment in the products. It's not a master database replacement. It cannot create high-resolution images from low-resolution images. And it's not magic. Definitely needs the investment of your human effort. And there is no such thing as a 100% zero human intervention tool. Humans will always be needed. Here we show you the invoice data extraction. This is a typical invoice structure, and you'll see that it pulls out the document type, whether it's an invoice or a credit note, the name and supplier address for vendor recognition, the VAT for supplier and business unit, the invoice date, number and delivery date, order data such as the purchaser, order number and so on, line item data such as description, unit amount, unit price, tax and totals, currencies, net values, tax values and rates and totals, and also the bank details to process the payment to. So there are two different types of optical character recognition within our product. A simpler one is barcode OCR. It allows you to capture the invoice after processing it. It's cheaper, rapid implementation, and mostly manual input still required. It would include assigning physical barcodes to your paper invoices and easy using barcode automatically generated if it's digital. Alternatively, there is the intelligent OCR, where you can capture an invoice at the point of entry, provides greater value to you as a business, has a longer implementation period, but has a significant reduction in the manual input. So what are the key features? High recognition rates for your invoices. Our technical consultants will help you aim to around about 80% match. There's no need to create templates prior to accepting the invoices into the process. The user can train recognition logic live with incoming data as it happens. Line item extraction is done via the intelligent OCR functionality, and the option for duplicate checking before the processing of payment is there for you. It's an out-of-the-box solution, so this helps shorten your project times when implementing, and has direct integration with leading ERP systems. It provides an integration with the Microsoft Office suite, which is used by many businesses around the world, and also has an international audit compliance which has been certified by KPMG and is HMRC compliant. Long-term, GDPR compliant storage and traceability is already there for you, with full text search capabilities for high-volume content repository with version control. We offer named and concurrent user licensing models to match the needs of your team, and the ability to scale the technology to other departments for different processes is already there waiting for you to use. One of our customers is Airbus. They have 15 SAP systems European-wide, and they deal with around 3.5 million invoices per year. They currently have 100 accountants and over 300 purchasers and over 1,000 approvers, and they have successfully implemented Easy Invoice into their business. Liverpool Football Club. Regardless of which team you support, every team could benefit from using Easy Invoice. There are 3 different companies within Liverpool Football Club, and they deal with 50,000 invoices per annum. They use the Microsoft Dynamics GP software as their ERP system, and they have hundreds of approvers using the same product, just in different ways. Another one here locally is Mount Anvil. They are a London housing developer and currently deal with around 50,000 invoices per annum. They use the Proactis P2P and Sun System tools, and they also have hundreds of approvers. Thank you for watching this part of the webinar. My name's Sean McLaughlin. I am a software consultant at Easy UK, and these are my contact details. But I'm sure you're really interested in looking at the product, seeing it in action. Let's do that right now. Easy can be installed on any Windows environment and can be accessed from any Windows PC or laptop. Let's look at Easy Capture Plus. At the top is the navigation pane. On the left-hand side are fields of data to be collected from the document being brought into the Easy process. In the middle is the document that has been captured, and on the right is a list of documents yet to be processed. In this scenario, the fields on the left-hand side indicate that the invoice number has not been located on the document. It has been assigned a red confidence level. To resolve this, simply select the invoice number field on the left and select the train button at the end of the navigation pane at the top. Simply press the Control key on your keyboard and with your mouse hover over the image where Easy should locate the invoice number. Once you've selected this, It extracts the data highlighted and populates the field for you. Once this has been committed to the database, Easy will now look in that area for the invoice number the next time it receives an invoice from that supplier. Then click the Release button at the top left-hand of the navigation pane to send the document into the approval process and move on to the next invoice. In Easy Invoice, the Purchase Invoices screen is displayed, and in the tree view, a series of filters help you navigate the invoices needing your attention. By selecting a filter, the list of invoices will display a hit list, and simply select one to view its Documents folder. The options in the top right hand are tabs of the Documents folder and separating information out. The default view is the captured document itself. The Invoice Data tab displays a comments area, so a user can record their comments for others to read first. In the areas underneath, all of the data that has been extracted from the document in Easy Capture Plus are there for your review. Invoice number, supplier details, amounts, and so on have all been recorded. Select the Information tab to see what information may require your attention. This invoice has been flagged as a potential duplicate has been found in the system. The Supplier History tab will allow your window through to other invoices currently being processed for that supplier. Bars in the separator lines help collapse the segments to free up screen real estate. At the simple click of a button, the document folder displays in its own pop-out window. Simply maximize to see exactly what you have seen on the preview pane, but utilizing the whole of the screen. Easy Invoice comes with 2 workflows, one of which has been pre-populated with a sensible workflow, which can handle most invoices with a PO reference found or without. We can teach you how to use these Visio diagrams to build your own workflows, or we can do it all for you. The choice is yours. The arrows between the shapes on the workflow are also labels for the buttons you see in Easy Invoice. This will help you understand where the invoice is in its life cycle within the workflow. These are just a few snippets of the extensive functionality that comes with Easy Invoice solution. My name is Sean, and I am your software consultant here at Easy UK. These are my contact details. Contact me to go through your individual requirements, and I can quickly create a customized demonstration for you and your colleagues. Thank you for your valuable time in reviewing Easy Invoice product. We look forward to working with you.
So what's Easy all about? Well, how can Easy help you? So just to give you a flavour of the size of organisation as well, we're about 50 million turnover, and as I've mentioned, we have 100 partners, but we have certainly got capacity for a lot more. Globally, we have 24/7 support run from the US office with my colleagues in Philadelphia through to various European offices, including UK, Turkey, and of course, various offices in Germany, through to my colleagues in APAC. So those of you in APAC, of course, we have partners, 1 or 2 partners in APAC. So there's an opportunity certainly there. And it's really partners will be using our interfaces and to develop their own solution set. And I think that's very important to be able to deliver that kind of capability. So what do we offer partners? As I say, we have a structured partner capability, and there is a document if you like to get in touch with me. We'd be happy to share the formal partner process, which has a scale of partner margins that will be attractive for you to win opportunities. But it's very much a case of us helping you to support your customers and support your opportunities. There's co-marketing opportunities as well, and the ability to be able to certificate if you want to be able to deliver these solutions yourself, or of course you can use our capabilities. We're some 300 people, but that's available to you should you wish to leverage the capabilities there. So please get in touch. This one. There we are. So that's me. As I say, the website is easy-software.com. It's in English and German. And as I say, there is some partnering information there. But please get in touch to be able to talk about your opportunities, and we welcome any interaction. And if you're looking at just perhaps referral opportunities where you'd like to earn a margin, we can keep it very simple from that point of view, because of course it's easy by name and easy by nature. So on that, I'd like to hand back to Andrew and see if there are any other questions. And as I say, apologies for the sound at the beginning there.
Thank you, Howard, and thank you for taking over Sean's piece. That must have thrown you a little there. We did test this yesterday, and it was quiet, but it was working. But I think today it just felt like the bandwidth wasn't there to push that through properly, Howard. So well stepped in. As you can see, Easy have a wealth of experience, a wealth of customers. Very much happy to work with you to take some of their messaging to your existing customer bases. I think the invoice processing one is it's very pertinent. Probably accounts payable are departments that have struggled working remotely, and cash flow, as Howard said, is key. And of course, that's something that Easy Invoice can really help with. So you haven't got any questions, Howard, but as I say, I'll facilitate some introductions, and hopefully people can follow up afterwards if they'd like to know anything further.
Thank you very much.
3 down, 4 to go. 3 down. I almost said 4 to go. The 4th to come. Let me find Ben. So Ben Morley, he is the Business Development Director at Scanoptics. Scanoptics are very much, again, a wealth of experience within the industry. And even though they're very experienced, they won our Best Newcomer Award at our recent ICC 8 conference. Where are you, Ben? There you are. Make presenter. Scanoptics have a very good AI-powered document processing solution, and that's also backed by machine learning to really help for that intelligent processing side of things. It's really about making sure that organizations get that best quality data that they can then use to inform their business decisions. So I'm going to hand over to Ben Morley. I can see your screen, Ben.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Oh, I can hear you as well. Great stuff. So over to you.
Hello, everyone. So as Andrew kindly introduced me, yes, I'm Ben Morley from Scanoptics. Today I'm going to talk about a bit about Scanoptics, where we've come from, how long we've been around, what we know about the industry, our product set, how we're working with Fujitsu currently, and how basically we can help partners and customers across the globe. So, diving straight in, Scanoptics was founded in the USA in around 1968 and in the UK in 1973. So as you can imagine, we've got a wealth of experience within the industry. We originally manufactured high-speed document scanners with our own inline OCR technology and multiple pockets and things like that. But as the industry shrunk, we kind of diversed and changed into software development, integration of systems, and creating our own sort of data capture suites. Currently, we have roughly around 6 million images a day going through any of our systems across the globe. That includes partners and our USA parent company as well. Basically, that means that multiple images coming into our system via paper, digital format, all sorts of different variations effectively. We're completely secure and compliant. All of our staff in the UK especially are SC cleared, which is very important for us because of our government contracts we hold. All of our products and facilities are ISO 27001 and 9001 and the latest GDPR compliant. We're also part of the government Crown Commercial Services Supplier, which is another important part of our business, and also the G Cloud Supplier framework. So moving on, this is just a quick overview of just some of our customers that we have past and present. Obviously, the top side of things is the commercial side of the business, and the bottom side of things is the government side of the business. Some of the government agencies, as you probably can see, don't actually exist anymore. For example, CIB. So that is actually a previous contract that we had. Most of these contracts and these customers, they range from multiple different types of solutions, from physical document scanning all the way through to data capture systems and supplying of a third-party document management system. So now we're going to move into our product. So the product we're going to be talking about today is our Easy Forward platform. The Easy Forward platform is basically a software as a service data capture suite, a high-end data capture suite that can sit in the cloud waiting for customers and clients to chuck documents up into, for us to then apply our own OCR, ICR and barcode, artificial intelligence, and basically plug data into people's applications for them. Part of the process is we have a manual intervention team that are dotted in the UK, the US, and throughout the world from partners, where they can actually manually key any data in, which allows us to extract any data from any type of form. So if people know about OCR, obviously it can fail, which is obviously where we can bring in our manual intervention team to actually key that information in. I have to say that the more artificial intelligence we plug into the system, the less manual intervention there is. So Easy Forward, it can be a complete overview of a whole digitization process. It can monitor from scan all the way to the customer using it and integrating it into their applications. As I said, as part of the service, it's got all of our own OCR, our ICR, and the manual data entry verification teams. It is a completely open source product, so we can actually integrate into multiple platforms. We've already done quite a lot of integrations into other software platforms, which I can go through a bit later in our partnership area. But it allows us to effectively push data in and out into different areas, whether it is in the mid process of digitization, at the start or the end. So we can obviously utilize different pieces of software from other partners and give the customer a better overall solution. So this is a very small video that just kind of goes over the Easy Forward application, just to kind of give you an idea of exactly what it does, and we'll go into a bit more depth after.
Critical information comes from everywhere, in paper forms, emails, and digital files. Manual keying to convert it to the data you need, that's expensive and aggravating. Eliminate the hassle with Easy Forward from ScanOptics. With Easy Forward, all the information you want to retain is transformed into data that flows into your software application in 3 simple steps. 1. Scan your paper documents or drag and drop emails, eFax, or other electronic files. 2. ScanOptics transforms your records, keying, indexing, and formatting the data. 3. You access and collect it, all with no data entry from you. Your data is quality assured and transferred to your business applications with up to 99.9% accuracy in as little as 2 hours. And since Easy Forward is scalable, your workforce no longer needs to be. Retain, collect, and convert as much data as you have, quickly, accurately, and securely. In business, the player with the best data wins. Make sure it's you with Easy Forward.
We can ingest documentation, whether it's paper form, digital form, whatever it may be. We can ingest that from multiple formats, whether it be a multifunction device, a network scanner, a network drive, or anything like that, a mobile phone even, where we would ingest that into our Easy Forward application and obviously apply those OCR rules and AI technologies to perform any tasks that the customer require, extract that important data, and then plug it into any applications that they require. Whether that be, you know, a document management system we can integrate straight into, a content management system we integrate straight into, or the customer just requires the CSV and PDF files back to them. As I said before, if our technologies don't grab all of that data that we need, we can apply the human verification step to make sure we grab that data and guarantee its accuracy. Part of the process that we're working with Fujitsu on, which I will go into a bit later, is we're integrating into their network scanners, where it will be a completely standalone system where people can actually just scan their documents straight in, and process them without touching them effectively. So, some of the key points about the Easy Forward platform. As I said before, it is a completely SaaS-based model. So it is all paid per click. So whatever the customer uses, that is what they pay for. 9 times out of 10, depending on the volumes of the project, there is no setup costs or any maintenance charges or anything like that. It is just literally, we need this, this is our volume, let's get going. So we can guarantee 99% accuracy on any type of document, whether it be handwritten forms, unstructured forms, or invoices, whatever it may be. The OCR and ICR barcode technologies, as I said before, they're all in-house developed. The OCR technologies have been developed over about 30, 40 years now, I would say, and continuously improving to a point. But where we've really made a lot of gains over the past 18 months to 2 years is within the artificial intelligence part of the system. The open source platform makes it a lot easier for us to integrate into other software platforms. As everybody knows, nowadays you can't be the jack of all trades. You need to focus on what you're good at, and have help from other partners doing those bits that they're good at. Another part that we've added recently is some fraud detection. So within invoice processing, we can actually check whether the bank details exist, whether the VAT number is registered, etc., to make sure that the invoices that are being processed are correct and not being fraudulent. As I said, it is a global platform. So effectively, it doesn't matter where the images are coming from. We have integrated into multiple languages in our OCR engines, and we do have partners in different parts of the world that can help with any of the human verification steps in different languages as well. We do have turnarounds through the Easy Forward platform in as little as 2 hours. I have to say, not many people need their images and data back within 2 hours, but we do have that facility available for customers. So the next slide, this kind of just goes into a bit more detail of how we are working with Fujitsu. So as some Fujitsu partners may know, the FI 7300 NX is a completely standalone scanner with Wi-Fi capabilities. We have now integrated our Easy Forward app onto the back end of this scanner. So customers can now have multiple sets of these scanners throughout different departments in their offices, each of them having their different logon, which they can actually walk up to, log into the device. Easy Forward then knows exactly what they're doing, what type of documents they are, what to extract, and we will automatically process those documents and plug it into the applications the customers need. So as I said before, obviously we're not sort of pushed down to the fact that we can only do structured forms and machine printed data. Because of our verification teams and our artificial intelligence, we can really get any piece of data off any type of document. Again, this is another little bit more into how the sort of scanner integration is working. So again, you can log straight in. When you log in, whatever your type of documents or your classifications or your processes that you have, they will come up on that screen for you to select what type of document or your process that you need to do. So it makes it very simple and very easy for the customer just to walk straight up to a scanner, put their documents on, press one button and walk away. Within the given SLA on the contract, that would be when the documents and the images return back to the customer in their given format. And again, just some few little points to make here. Obviously, I've talked about the intelligent data capture and classification, which is all automated through our artificial intelligence, and the fact that we have some invoice fraud detection placed in there now. and also the fact that we are very seamlessly integrated into current workflows of any customers. Along with the fact that the minimizing of capex and things, obviously with the way the world is at the moment, people aren't obviously wanting to spend an awful lot of money, especially on certain aspects of their business when they're trying to rein in as much money as they can. The whole thing about process paying as you go, it is a great advantage for any customer. And of course, the solution is completely scalable, so the workforce effectively doesn't have to be. So this is just a brief slide on some of the integrations and partnerships we're already working on, and some that we're obviously a bit further down the line with than others, and some we've been working with for quite a number of years. We're obviously looking for a lot more partners across the globe to help us kind of bring our brand across to those parts of the world. The next slide kind of shows you a very varied sort of area where we kind of try and cover across the globe with partners in various different areas. For instance, we have scanning centres in Australia, so they're a partner that we have a partner in Australia that does scanning for us and different digitisation work for us, and they kind of cover a lot of the Philippines and things like that. However, it's a bit of a challenge for us to cover the Philippines and everything from and the Asia from Australia. So also partners obviously don't only include the scanning partners, that some of them include the human verification teams and indexing partners that we utilize, some of those in India, obviously Brazil, and America. So that kind of gives you a kind of a view that we are very much a global company and very much looking for more global partners. And just a very, very brief slide on something that we do as well, which is obviously our scanning services. It's not our main focus of business, but it is where we can help customers get rid of a large amount of paper. And obviously we can deal with collecting the paper from customer sites or even going to the customer site to do the scanning work there. So that's kind of me and ScanOptics. Thank you for your time. If you do have any questions, obviously I'd like to answer any now, but if you don't have any right now, then I'm sure you may have later down the line, and there's some contact details there for you.
Super, thanks Ben. A really nice overview of ScanOptics and some of the differing services that they can offer. So I'm sure I know we've got a wealth of companies across EMEA on the call. So hopefully we can make some introductions and get some more partners in different regions to help push the ScanOptics message. We don't have questions at the moment, but I'm sure people will have things to follow up on. We really do love Easy Forward and the integration that we have with the 7300NX, and of course there's that recurring revenue opportunity that partners have that they might not necessarily get from just selling hardware. So that's a great conversation.
And we can always go to their current customer base, which obviously there's already trust there and things like that.
Indeed. So thanks for that, Ben. Much appreciated. Amazingly, we're still bang on time. I had a feeling that we were going to be drifting over, but no, thank you very much. Appreciated. So let me find our last ISV partner. So where are you, Charles? So Charles Hooker, he's the managing director of FileStream, last but not least, and FileStream are very much a leading provider of secure electronic document management systems, really helping businesses of all sizes across multiple sectors to streamline their document filing, their document processes, and they're just generally enjoying the benefits that the digital transformation piece will bring. I see a black screen at the minute. Nope, I see your screen, Charles.
Do you?
Yep, there's your desktop. I can hear you as well. So over to you. Thank you, Charles.
Much, and thank you very much, everybody, for your time. I'll try and be brief because it must be getting on to lunch. Can you all hear me?
I certainly can, and I'll keep an eye
Excellent.
on the chat message just
Okay,
in case
thank you very
anyone else
much.
doesn't.
Let's start off with this PowerPoint. I hope everybody you'll forgive me for PowerPoint presentation. With lockdown, I've done it myself, but I hopefully we'll cover enough points so you get an impression of what I want to talk about. FileStream is a classic document management company. We used to be a company that sold hardware, facsimiles and copiers and that sort of thing, but we got a little old to carry the boxes, so we carried on with document management, and we produced our own product quite a few years ago. We're going to cover a quick introduction to us, the scanner range, why a scanner and a solution is a real big plus point. We have an entry-level product called Officio DM Pro. Rico's product is Officio, so not to be confused with that. This is Officio DM Pro. It's effectively free software that we can bundle with hardware so that the hardware sale can be more attractive, and it will allow the salesman an entry point in selling a solution rather than just hammering away, often with great difficulty, selling one piece of hardware against another. The people who take up the Officio product are very likely to migrate on to the main enterprise product, which we call FileStream. So it's a good introduction, and it secures you the ultimate sale. We're looking at the integration of Officio DM and our enterprise product FileStream with the FI800R for regional capture and the N7100 for indexing from the screen. We have a mobile app. I'm going to go over the costs. I'm going to go over just very briefly the main features of our enterprise product, and then our version 5, which is coming out in the autumn. This is our future, and we'll just cover that. Going to the next screen. We only really recommend Fujitsu scanners. Any Twain or ISIS scanner will do, but Fujitsu scanners are our primary choice for if you have a good scan, you have a good downstream processing. If you have a bad scan or bad support, everything can be expensive and get lost. FileStream has been going since 2003. Before that, we sold other people's software and got a taste for document management. So we've been in the business quite a long time. Some of our customers, because we're not a large company, are among the best you can get, just the same as our colleagues that have just preceded me. So we look after tens of millions of documents for many of these customers. Scania, all 57 of their depots, and big secondary colleges, divisions of big banks. Our biggest contract is with Carnival. Academy Trust has 15 academy schools there. Environment Agency, and you get the picture. Now, although most of our customers are smaller, nearly all our time is spent with these sort of customers. I had to look at a big complex schematic, but I've reduced it down to the bare minimum. With the movement to smaller sub-offices and home working, the scanner market can be developed as paper documents will have to be digitized. We took the opportunity after speaking with Andrew a week or two ago to phone up a lot of people and see what they thought they were going to do after lockdown. Most of them said that half the staff loved working from home, and some of those are going to be kept on, and some of them said they were going to give up the head offices and work in regional sub-offices. So the drawing is simply any office anywhere or any worker anywhere. The program is a cloud platform or on-premise, completely as you like. What we're trying to achieve with remote working is to remove the paperwork, because it has to be made electronic, because you can't just get up and walk over and open a filing cabinet any longer, not if you're 500 miles away. The paperwork has to be secured for GDPR. It has to be fully encrypted. It has to be put in an area where only selected people can view it in any case. The paperwork, once it's made digital, it just joins all the other documents on the computer system. So it must be very quickly indexed so that it can be instantaneously searched for. The paperwork must join other systems, back office systems. So for instance, we supply organisations like Man United Football Club, and it's mostly to deal with the invoicing, but that's all integrated to their accounts program. Finally, the paperwork has to be communicated. So the instant it's flashed in, it has to be able to be sent around the company, the world, customers, clients, anything in a secure manner. So we have built-in electronic signature programs in with FileStream. This little bit on the right, see if I can press zoom. It did work. It's just a few general ideas. Literally, the document's our own small company. Scan in. We never thought we did until we actually thought about it. And then it's almost subconscious to see somebody drift up to the scanner and scan the documents in. So there's a huge amount of general documents, huge amount of documents that come in as paperwork for the accounts. The HR is full of paper documents that just sneak their way in, lots of general, the PAYE, all of documentation concerning the company cars and vehicles. So there's an awful lot. It's this that is the key, I think, to expanding the scanner market. With the Fujitsu range, we have one correct scanner for every application. And we're going to look at these two scanners again. So again, it's partnering with the likes of Fujitsu that enable us to talk to customers at almost any scanning level for any job. A scanner and a document management solution is a solution, a document management program. What is the value of both of these? If somebody is going to offer you the ability to index away supplier invoices so that you can find them again, that's going to be much superior to a scanner just on its own, especially if the solution is bundled with the scanner at no difference in cost. FileStream have three products. We've got a downloadable single user system, full encryption, 10,000 documents, perfect for a home computer. We have a multi-user version of that called Officio DM Pro, which lets us have 15 users on a network, full encryption. It has 5 secure areas, so you can put all the HR documents in one secure area and not let anybody else see them. It'll do 1.25 million documents, and it has optical character built in. Then we have the enterprise system, which takes 5 hours to go through, but that's very fulsome. Here is what we actually are offering free of charge. We've got the scan snaps, which are not Twain or ISIS, so we have a hot folder solution for them. We've got the SP series, which are small scanners with Twain interfaces. The FI, which is has PaperStream added to the mix, and then the two features that would come on these scanners. So network, 1 PC, 3 users as standard, expandable to 15 users. Migration to the enterprise system, yes. So if you start small, you can seamlessly migrate up to the enterprise system with all your work kept. Import from hot folder, all of them. Scan interface, just on the FI series, and where you have the Twain interface. Text search, likewise. Regional OCR, excellent, because paper capture gives us this superb ability to strip off information from supplier invoices, and passports or driving licenses, and that is absolutely works very well and is free with the scanner. Index, search, mobile app. This is something that allows us to find documents on our mobile devices, Android, Apple, or any Microsoft device, and also not just to find the documents, but index them. So we'll look at that a little later. That again is free. Encryption, 256 AES, nobody's going to decrypt that. Multilingual and document capacity. So we'll make a bit more sense of this later. Officio DM Pro, just to reiterate. Index, search, scan, multilingual, mobile, fully upgradable. Scanning itself. Here's your paper capture. You can scan to a hot folder if you don't have a Twain interface that connects directly to the scanner. There is Officio DM Pro, the home page. Everything is simple. You don't need a book of instructions. Click the root box, scan to the root box, click the root box, and just import them. They come straight into the system in list form, or click on the list and you'll see the actual document come up. If you've got a Twain interface, you can scan directly to the program, to the in tray, or straight into a cabinet itself. So you can scan an invoice straight into the invoices cabinet and index it as you go along. There is a civilized little scan interface that really helps us in this task. Again, this is all free with the scanner. Import. There's the home screen again. Just press import. It couldn't be easier. Import, choose where you want to import the document. Select the document and it's done. Index. There is a document. Click index. You'll find it somewhere. There it is. Choose the cabinet you want to index the document to. Fill out the metadata fields. These are including list fields very handily, and just press index. Job done. Want to find a document? There's the home screen. Who's not going to see that? Search, magnifying glass. Choose what you want to search. You want a supplier invoice or a student file, whatever it is. Fill out the metadata fields backwards. So I'm looking for student A. If I start to type the name, it will come straight up, and choose the document category, and then I set up special needs document or whatever it might be, and just press search. There's the document, comes straight up. That is the mobile application. So although it doesn't look like a telephone, you can see it's very fulsome, and this technology, this whole mobile app, comes free with the system. The Fujitsu 800R, I'm really impressed with paper capture because it allows an super expensive feature, regional capture, free with the software, and that you can really make use of that. Zone OCR, automatic generation of CSV file, automatic indexing straight into our enterprise system or into Officio DM Pro, which I repeat again is free with the scanner. You just go and find the profile, scan the document in, go back into Officio, press the Fujitsu button, choose the section you want, and there's the document already indexed for you. In the enterprise system, there's no button pressing, it's completely seamless. But in the free program, I think that's very good to be able to offer that functionality straight out of the box. You can just double click on the list image to see the actual image. Fit to width, fit to height, and rotate, and everything else included. Assembly 100, simple as anything. There's the machine. Here's a little view of the screen. On it, we have our enterprise version as well as Officio DM Pro. So they both work. Index documents directly from the scanner screen. So no need for a PC station. Could be goods inwards, could be anything. Automatic generation of CSV with captured index information. Automatic indexing to either DM or file stream. And here's how it is. You see the screen there, and you've just exactly got what we had before. You've got your fields that you fill in. Choose where you want to look for the document, and human resources, search for the document, and there it will be. So when you index it from that machine, it goes straight into the system, ready to be searched for by anybody. The Midwich difference. Midwich are a top distributor, and this is their information. It's a bit, as I took a screenshot of it, but they are any scanner, Fujitsu scanner bought from Midwich. We have a voucher system and a very simple system of enabling that purchaser to receive the free software. Not only do they receive the free software, but we will support them in helping them get it going if they can't do it themselves. We produce these banners for partners, so you can that's a banner chopped in half, but again it just shows you what you can get with each scanner. The costs of Officio are 3-user system free with the scanner. And you can buy 6, 9, 12. If you wish to upgrade to more users, these are the costs. Where the software itself is free, the costs are purely support costs. FileStream is our enterprise document management product. I'll just go through the top tabs. Standard, you've got scan, index, search, diary, share info, entire database, log out with a cup of tea, everything you might expect of an enterprise document management system. Document, OCR, append, annotate, word search, convert to image, train it to recognize documents and do further things, permissions and bookmarks and links and so on. Input, output, you can communicate, import, send, print, save as, mail, merge. Searchable CD will come to, it's very useful for SARs. Export as CSV, XML, and so on and so forth. Workflow, it's a very rudimentary but very heavily used workflow as a start and a stop and all the tasks in between. You can set it up yourself, don't need education. Administration, the role-based access control took us a couple of years to write, but it is the single biggest feature responsible for selling FileStream Enterprise version. And we can go through that with you. FileStream options, make it all yourself. There's the image view. Create a document, you can have all your templated documents and everything in there. Annotations and notes. Retention dates can be set at cabinet or field level. So you might have a student cabinet to which warnings must come off in 6 weeks, but everything else must be 6 years. That can all be done. Searchable CDs allow us to get information and send it as a zip folder or a CD or a memory stick so that people can see it. And all of the searchable CDs have the standard Oracle viewer, letting them see 300 or 400 file types, so they don't need to worry about that. Looking at the time, don't worry, Andrew. FileStream 5, this is our future. This is a similar interface. We asked everybody what they wanted, a modern interface with green and black and everything, but no, they all wanted the same interface. It's interface 1. We have a multi-interface version of FileStream 5. The other interfaces I'm going to keep under the belt until the autumn because that's our unique selling point and that's the best bit of the program. The structure is completely modern. Everybody has to rewrite from time to time. Our own program has 4 million lines of code. It has the Kofax, GD pictures, and the Oracle components. So it's a huge program, and every single line is rewritten with the new modern code and everything that you can think of. You can have a local network, any cloud solution, or a hybrid, including a completely footprintless interface and client. The workflow is massively expanded. We've got now standard workflows, workflow to workflow, so you can nip out of a workflow, drift around the world, come back in. You've got parallel and serial workflows and conditional workflows. So a workflow can be jogged on when any other action on the computer has taken place. So this is, again, is a big thing for us. Cost. This is the cost to resellers, just to give you an idea. It might go up and down a bit, but this is pretty well what it's going to be. 1 to 10 licenses of the full 4.5 as it is now, or the 5 as it will be, to a reseller will cost £2,000. The normal cost is the sky is the limit, not cheap programs. So nearly all of the margin is with the reseller. Installation and user training. Everybody can do 10 licenses in a day, £750, and that's it. That's what all the training and installation fees you need pay. Anything above that we take on free ourselves as part of support. The year's support, £300 to £1,250, depending on 1 to 10 users. We can split this support income with our partners if they choose to take on some of the work. On-premise or cloud, any old cloud costs, any old cloud. Fixed or concurrent licensing, we've managed that. With this main license, you don't get a cheap cut down version. You get the full thing, including what used to be the workflow module, the footprintless module, the mobile module, which again is index, administer, and search, searchable CD for SARs, and it has a scheduler, email notification mode. So it's a really big system that will manage those big customers that I mentioned earlier. It's not second fiddle to anybody. There's our website. You can say hello to us. We've got all our team pictures and everything up there. There's a quick little download link to the single user and the multi-user. For partners, you just need to phone up and get a voucher so you don't pay for it. Thank you for your time. I think I'm just about done, Andrew.
Brilliant. I think we all looked at the bottom left and saw 69 slides and thought, crikey, this is going to be a long 20 minutes. But
right.
no, you did a great job. Thank you. We've had the usual sort of question around Arabic support, any sort of experience in the Middle East. Is it possible to get free trial versions? So I don't know if you can answer any of those questions.
The answer is anybody can talk to us and get a free trial version. We use the top quality components. Although, as I say, we're not a large company. I think part of our success is to use the best components we can, so that it gives us a freer time, an easier time of it. So we use the Kofax OCR, which is the old Nuance engine. We use Tesseract too. Both the Kofax and at the moment at any rate, and the Tesseract, you can have the system with both in, are on an unlimited use basis. So there's nothing wrong with these OCR applications. They're top class, and we have one of the rare licenses for the Kofax to be limitless. So you buy the system and you can use it as much as you like for managing. As far as the Arabic is concerned, no problem with Arabic, but we would like, and I have to admit, just a little bit of help if anybody can point us in the right direction of a program that we need to buy in to help us to type Arabic from right to left. So the OCR and all of that side of it is available with our components, and we just need to improve a little on the actual typing of Arabic.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Charles. As I say, I'll follow up. There's a couple of other little questions, but we'll follow those up with in due course. So lots of food for thought there from Charles and FileStream. There's an amazing amount of opportunities that Charles has presented, and Charles would be more than happy to go through with you in more detail. Very passionate company, very a hell of a lot of experience, and keen to work closely with partners. So we've reached the end. Really appreciate everyone joining us. I hope that the 5 partners that we've spoken with and have presented today are going to present some opportunities and present some conversations that you can take to your customer base. So please don't hesitate to get in contact with your partner manager. Please don't hesitate to get in contact with me or the ISV directly. We will send out an automated email. What I'll do though is I'll rework in the videos that didn't play so well for Easy Software and Scan Optics. So it might not be early tomorrow. I'll try and get it out tomorrow during the day. But please take a look at that, share with colleagues, and as I say, come back to us if you'd like to know any more information. Certainly be very keen to get feedback. This is the first time we've done a session such as this. So if you've got the ability to write something in the question panel or the chat panel just around feedback, that'd be much appreciated. We also have webinars on our imaging channel program that we've done previously with DocMe, with Easy Software and FileStream. So that will give you a bit more in-depth information on those 3 ISVs, and I'm working closely with Scan Optics and Process Flows to look at doing some webinars in due course where we can go a bit more into depth around target markets, opportunities, and their solutions. So again, thank you very much for joining us. I'm glad that we're pretty much bang on time. Stay safe, have a good rest of day, and hopefully see you again on our SP virtual launch event, which is coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I'll send a link to that as well in the automated email. Thank you and goodbye.